All right, so we have 5 members of the Tragically Hip, 3 of whom are now doing solo things. And I guess, I guess you would be the second of the 5 to actually do something, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Strippers Union first came together in, what, 2002?
5 years ago.
Okay.
6 years ago.
So there's been a bit of a break, and now we have this...
a bit of a break.
And now we have this new album with Craig Northey from Odds.
Yeah.
And a couple of other guys from Odds in there.
Pat Steward and Doug Elliott.
Now, okay, you're in Kingston.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Craig's studio is in Vancouver. How the heck do you guys find time to write songs and record them?
You got to have a good excuse. Craig works in his studio, I work in my studio, and if I'm in Vancouver, I pop into his place, book a couple of extra days, and stuff spills out. We move very quickly when we're together.
Do you collaborate long distance because you have the studios and you just send tracks back and forth?
We could, we don't.
You
No.
don't? I see.
No.
I would have thought that would be the way you would do it.
No, no. It's I work on the music, and when we get together, we work on the lyrics. He takes the lead, but we work on it together, and the lyrics always spin out of conversation, just very mundane. What's on the cover of People magazine, or which pop star you want to kill off that week, or, you know, that's pretty much why hasn't anyone written a song about zombies in a while? You know, so, stupid things. And these things, silly conversations, turn into songs.
Well, when you listen to The Circle is Small, it almost could be a different band for every song because the styles are so different. I mean, the record starts and sounds like, hey, these guys are channeling Jackson Browne. But then you get a little bit deeper into the record, and songs like, I guess, Nala, and what's the one before Nala? It's I Give You Away.
Oh, I Give You Away, yeah.
Which is, I think, that's my favorite on the album.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought it was a single. Who knows?
What, you did?
Well, you know, I did, but you trust in the people you work with,
okay.
And or I like to. You know, you give trust to people and you let them run with the ball, do their job, and my job's not picking singles.
But getting back to the stylistic difference,
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, am I? I mean, there's a lot of really different things that change from song to song. It's very varied. I found it really refreshing.
I'm a fan of a lot of different types of music, but I'm a rock music fan, and when I look at the record or listen to the record, I hear, you know, oh, there's a Beatles influence, a Stones influence. That sounds a bit like The Who. You know, there's a sort of Zeppelin riff there.
Yeah.
There's a
horn section comes in. And
yeah, and you know what? If you like rock music, you know, that sounds a bit like a David Lindley thing, you know, the Jackson Browne reference, and or a bit of Tom Petty. I like rock music. I love all those things. That's, you know.
Well, the record is
the well.
It's a really nice synthesis of all this stuff. And how much time did you guys actually spend on it, given that you're so far apart?
Yeah, well, not much. I spend a lot of time working on ideas. I try and work every day in my studio and work something up. If I get 20 minutes, it's 20 minutes. If I get 4 or 5 hours, then I can work something up to semi-completion. And when I get a chance, I'm in Vancouver or Craig's passing through Ontario, we hook up, get 2 or 3 days together, and we'll have 5 or 6 songs out of that.
And the other guys, I guess, come along when
we get the other guys in the studio when Craig and I feel we've got 15 or 16 songs. We get everyone into the bathhouse, which is the Hip studio in Bath, and book ourselves in for 10 days and make a record.
So you've got 10 tracks on this, so that seems to indicate that there are more.
Yeah, we recorded 16 for this, and the others were left off not for any reason of quality. I think there was a whole other vein that was being mined, which I think was a bit more like the band, a bit more acoustic, a bit more inward, contemplative. I was playing more pedal steel on some of that stuff, and it just felt like this group of songs fit better. It's an eclectic mix, but somehow I think, for the most part, they're sort of outward-looking songs, and I thought.
Let's go through some of them. Let's start with the Jackson Browne-y, David Lindley, Making Strange.
Yeah. Get to play steel guitar.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, almost running on empty kind of a feel.
Yeah, sure. It's the steel guitar thing, and it's you know, I'm a blues rock player, essentially, is the background. And, you throw a slide on something and you're going to sound like a small handful of people. So David Lindley, I'll take that.
Good guitar player.
Yeah,
Very good.
love him.
When your beauty fades.
Yeah, again, a complete musical idea. I took out to Vancouver. I got together with Craig for 6 days in Vancouver in April last year. And he had the title, When Your Beauty Fades, You'll Be Lonely. And that's all he had. And we started talking about where do we take it? And it seemed a little too pointed to write it about a person. So we took it into the garden. It's a weed singing to the rose beside it.
Now, here's a question. Are there any differences in the songs that were recorded in Vancouver versus the ones that you guys recorded here in the East?
Well, no, actually everything was recorded. Everything was recorded at the Bathhouse. I'd say half the musical tracks or my guitar tracks, bed tracks were recorded at my home studio in Kingston. And then we took that into Bath and we'd replace my drum machines and bass parts with some of the finest musicians Canada's ever produced, I think.
Well, these guys are good.
Pat Steward and Doug Elliott. And the other 5 or 6 songs we worked up from the start, but they were written as songs. We had, when Craig and I get together, we call it making blueprints. You write the lyrics, you write out the song form, you do a demo, but when we get together as a band, you trust in everyone's instinct, and I know Doug Elliott's going to come up with a better bass part than I'm going to come up with.
That's why you hire him.
And that's Pat Steward's the monkey. You let him out of the cage and let him go.
What's the single from the record?
Making Strange.
It is Making Strange.
Yeah.
What would be the second, if you had a choice?
If we get a second, well, it's singles. What do I know about singles?
Well, you're the guy who wrote them.
I
So
tell
you must think that.
I tell you the way I approach it is that it's not the way the record industry approaches it. I think they want one single and concentrate everything on this one point. Everything has to lead to this one point, and I don't see it that way. I think Burn the Bridge Down would be perfect on country radio. Sounds like CMT to me.
Yeah, I would say it does.
And I think I Give You Away sounds the most like modern rock radio to me. I think Making Strange is a bit more like a classic rock radio thing. People say, oh, you can't put a song on the radio if it's got horns. I know a lot of stations won't play a song if it's got horns, but
that's a modern rock station, maybe. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's Muscle Shoals. I mean, that's Sticky Fingers stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. There's a track there with somebody with a really deep voice.
Yeah.
Is that you?
That'd be me.
And what's the track?
Probably The Circle Is Small,
Yeah.
the Gordon Lightfoot song at the end. Yeah.
That's it's nice that you get Gordon in there.
Yeah, several years back I had a friend, and I guess we're all at the age where we've seen friends go through lousy domestic situations, and I just happened to be listening to Gordon Lightfoot at the time, and this song came up, and I just thought, what a pointed song. The lyrics are so pointed, and yet he sings it in that classic jaunty, well, it's all right for some. And I thought it really kind of betrays the lyric in a way. And he wrote the song, and he can do it however he wants, and it's a classic. Whatever Gord does is gold for me. But I just thought there's another way to do that lyric, and I really thought, the verses are sort of pleading with this person. Come clean with me, tell me the truth, and then the choruses, there's like an anger, a bit of a menace. This person feels really wronged, and I thought, why don't we do it that way? And instead of taking all that jangly 12-string guitar, just get some kind of crazy pulsing, like your temples pulsing when you can feel your anger rising.
Did you exercise any creative issues with this record, or was it just something to pass the time between hip records?
No, I think you're always exercising creative issues. I wasn't taking issue with anything in the hip camp. Everything was very good there. But we'd had a very hard and grueling year. We did basically a 9-month tour with very few breaks, a few days here, a few days there. And at the end of it, everyone was burnt. And we needed time away from each other. We needed time away from the hip. And everyone needed to find a way to recharged the batteries, and Gord did his thing, and Paul just worked on his songs, which turned into a record. A really lovely record.
It is good. We had him in here a little while ago, and it's not what we expected from Paul.
Yeah.
But it's a terrific album.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him. I'm glad to say I think I took an important role in making sure that was a record, because he was just working on the songs, and I said, Paul, you got to put it out, and by the way, I want to play on every track. I love it. And I wrote him notes on every single song. You know, you got to bring the backgrounds up in this, and this needs a drum fill, and this needs a. And he took me very seriously. Instead of being pissy about it, he really, I think, appreciated the encouragement and the interest I took in it. And it's just because I really loved the songs.
So again, we go to the almost bi-coastal nature of Strippers Union. What does that mean for touring?
It makes touring more difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible. We're hoping that the single does grand things, and then the offers will improve, and we'll tour. And if not, we'll play shows in a more piecemeal fashion when we can. And it's easier for me to get west and do a little BC Alberta swing than to bring 5 guys east or 4 guys east. But I'd like to do one of these, the way they used to tour in the 50s and the early 60s.
The caravan tours.
The caravan
yeah.
tour. And, these guys have played with so many people. The Odds have been a backup band for everyone from, Wendy Bird to Blair Packham to, and why not do a little cavalcade? And we had this new singer, I don't know if you know her, Emily Fennell from Kingston.
Oh.
Really just a voice that will just stop you in your tracks. And Gene Simmons is trying to sign her to his label
Gene's
now.
Trying to
and all
sign
this.
everybody. Sorry, Gene.
It's this big thing. But she sang on the record. I'd love to go out with a group of people and take Paul Langlois out, and the Odds can play some tunes, and Strippers Union, you have guests and a horn section and background singers, and they can each take a turn, and we'll back them on their tunes.
That sounds like a hell of a good time.
Yeah, I think it's a good time.
And especially in the spring and summer. That would be, you play, fairs and
Union halls.
Union halls. There you go. Strip clubs.
It's natural. I'll stick to the union halls.
So,
or more about the union than the strippers. So.
When and in amongst all this, there is a hip album that will probably be out later this year, says Paul.
Yeah, I don't know. It's quite possible. We're plugging away. We've sent 3 songs off to be mixed, and we've got another 4 that are ready to be finalized.
Is that how you do it, piecemeal?
No, it's different every single time. We have no formula. I think if we had a formula, we'd either be fabulously wealthy and retired, or more consistently terrible than we've been. I don't think formulas are a good thing in music.
So we've got.
So we just change it up every time, and this time we introduce a song or a couple of songs, and we work on it for a few days until it's starting to feel like it's really in the pocket. We record it and put it to bed for a week, come back, do overdubs on it, take it as far as we can, and when we call it done, it's done, and send it off.
That's the thing about an album. You don't so much finish it as you abandon it after a while.
Yeah, I think, it's good sometimes to have a deadline and say, this is the best record we could make at this time under these circumstances, and I can live with that. I don't have, I know some people say, John Lennon said I'd go back and re-record everything the Beatles ever did. I don't buy that. To me, it's you do the best you can at that moment, and we have the live thing. You take the songs out live, and they're a living, breathing song. When you record them and put them on a record, they're kind of freeze-dried, and you try and seal in as much freshness as you can, but it's still, frozen produce. Get it out on stage and
give it a chance to breathe.
To thaw.
Yeah. Well, I really like the record. I mean, I was again, the variety on it is the thing that really captures me, because you never know what you're going to get from song to song until you've gone through it a whole bunch of times, and then you can sort of get in the swing of it. And the playing, like you said, with the guys that you've got on the record, they're good. I mean, they're really solid, and the arrangements are nice too, with the horns and the bluesy bass that'll come in here and there, and the big sharp guitars that are out front. I mean, it's
strings. I got strings in there
on
this
the record,
time.
Yeah. Again, when you have a guy that owns, well, two guys that have their own studios. I mean, these are things that you have learned about and can dream up and know how to execute when the time comes. Yep. So it's an interesting collaboration. I'm going to guess that the production was sort of a 50-50 thing. Yeah,
with Craig and I, very much. Very much. Craig has a great ear. I kind of do more the broad strokes, arrangement-wise, and dynamics, and Craig is listening to the infinitesimal detail, which he's very good at. Doug Elliott is also. We'll be playing a song, and Doug Elliott would say at the end of a take, "Now, Rob, in the pre-chorus leading into the second chorus, about 1 minute and 35 seconds into the song, you pushed the 4 leading into the 1.
I did?
Really? At 1:35, you say? And of course, you listen back to it, and he's dead on.
Wow.
He's a master of little details. I don't think in those terms. Who pushed what? You're just reacting to everything. I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey about it. You try and get the broad strokes so that everyone can see the picture.
Well, good luck with the record. I hope it does well, and look forward to whatever the 5 of you happen to come up with by Christmas.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Al.
Explore Music wears English Laundry apparel.